Hi, welcome. This is your prenatal yoga class. Just a quick little disclaimer about this class today. This is for any stage of your pregnancy. We're going to be targeting some of the areas that are really great to open up during your pregnancy, and then some of the problem areas, hips and low back, that tend to bother us as our body's changing quickly. If at any point, especially if you're further along in your pregnancy towards your third trimester or the end of your third trimester, I encourage you to take it nice and slow, maybe have extra pillows, props around you that you can use to support the body, and then always backing out of something that doesn't feel quite right for you. So that's the best time to really tune in to what you need to do for your body. I am about 17 weeks, so I'm going to be doing some things on my back, but I'll be giving options throughout the class. So this is all about just making you and your baby feel great and giving you a little freedom in your own body. So let's get started on our back. Again, if you're uncomfortable lying on your back, you can, we're going to be here for about 5 to 10 minutes. You can sit up on some blankets, or you can also sit in a chair. Have your belt or strap close by. So the two props we're going to use are a belt or a strap, tie, any scarf that you can find around, and a blanket. If, again, you're later in your pregnancy, towards your third trimester, I encourage you to grab some blocks. It's just going to give you a lot more space, or even just something you can put your hands on. So as you come on down, have your strap close by. Lay back. Get your low back comfortable. Maybe rock those legs side to side a little bit. And then start to just relax through the back of the shoulders. Draw the chin slightly to the chest. We're going to toe heel the feet slightly wider, then hip distance apart, maybe towards the edges of your mat. And then just let the knees fall in. This should feel comfortable for your low back and for your hips. If it doesn't feel comfortable in any way, then make the adjustments you need. Maybe make the feet more narrow or take the knees a little further apart. Good. From this position, we're going to take our right hand and place it right on your belly. If you're further along, you might know which area of your baby you're holding on to. Sometimes they stick their little butt out, or they have a foot that likes to stick out. And then you're going to take your left hand to your heart center. While we lie on our back, we're going to work on just deepening the breath. So we inhale, feeling the hands rise. And exhale, slowly letting it out. Good. Continue with this deep breath in and out through the nose. Trying to slow down the breath, increasing that lung capacity with each cycle. The end of your next exhale, bring your left hand down to your belly, and then bring your right hand up, just switching, noticing what that feels like. And then we're going to deepen the breath a little more, so we'll inhale about half the air into the top of the chest, pause for just a short moment, and then inhale the rest of the air into that bottom hand, into the belly. One long continuous exhale, letting all the air out. Try that again. Inhale about half the air and pause. Inhale the other half. Pause and let it all out. And a few more cycles following your breath here. At the end of that last exhale, release all the air. Return to just a normal, slow inhale and exhale through the nose. Release the hands. And then we're going to start to let the head move side to side, relaxing the back of the neck. Good. Anytime you can slow down the breath during your pregnancy, especially as things get farther along and that lung capacity starts to decrease as everything pushes up towards it, the better you'll be towards the end of your pregnancy as we keep that lung capacity open, keep that air flowing through the body. Good. As you come back to center, you can start to blink open the eyes. We'll pull the knees into the chest. If you don't have quite the space to pull the knees in towards the chest, you're going to get a nice wide position in the knees, and hands are on the kneecaps. And we're just going to rock side to side. You just want to open up that low back. Think about massaging the low back towards the floor. Good. Relax the shoulders. You can keep the head and neck moving, really just anything that feels good for your body here. Good. We try to tune in prenatal yoga, we try to tune into the fluid movement in the body. So keeping things moving, not really holding deep stretches for too long. Try to keep things flowing, just like our baby as it floats around in our body. Good. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come back to center. We'll extend the left foot down to the floor and then reach the right leg up as you grab your strap or your scarf. Good. Bend the knee so you can reach up and place the strap right under the toes above the ball of the foot, and then extend that leg straight. So wherever your leg needs to be in order for it to be straight. Roll the shoulders back and down, and then check back in on that lower back area. We really want the low back to stay grounded. We're going to start just by pulling in. So you're going to feel a stretch down through the back of the leg and the hamstring. If your whole hip comes up off the floor, then you're doing a little too much rounding and probably compressing the belly too much. So I want you to give yourself more space. Good. Keep the back of that right hip grounded and only come in far enough where you feel the stretch, but that right hip doesn't lift up. Good. Take about 2 or 3 more breaths. Relax the shoulders again. Draw the chin slightly to the chest. And you might start to feel that stretch coming down through the back of the right leg and up through the back of the head as well. So giving lots of space through the back of the body. Good. Keep that steady inhale and exhale. And then we're going to bring the strap into the left hand. Good. Take your right hand to the hip crease. Thumb is going to wiggle right into that hip crease, and you're going to try to pull the hip away from you. Think about lengthening your whole right side of the body. Good. As you do that, the foot might turn a little bit, and we're going to cross over the body just enough till you start to feel this outer thigh stretch. So IT band area running sometimes from the knee or the ankle. The sensation will be running from the knee or the ankle up to the hip. Good. Keep pushing that hip away and feeling that length through the back of the right side. Good. Letting that leg cross over. Your left thigh is kind of as a brake, so it's keeping your leg from falling all the way over and coming too much into a twist. Good. If you need more space, give your strap more slack and let the leg fall further away from you, so giving your belly some space. If you're good where you are, stay right there for 2 more breaths. As you come back up, little engaging through the core, right hand goes to the strap, and then left hand comes to the top of the hip, option to extend the left leg out. Good. From here, with the left hand on top of the hip, you're going to let that right leg open. And again, the goal is to keep the low back on the floor, so you don't want to tip the whole body over to the left side. Your cues are that left back of the left shoulder and the back of the left hip, keeping them grounded on the floor. Good. This is going to feel like a nice stretch for that entire right leg and probably through the inner right groin. Good. And you might only go about halfway till you feel that stretch. So just Breathe where you are, finding space within your own body. Good. If you ever get too deep into a stretch and you start to hold the breath, or you notice the breath gets a lot quicker, anytime we get into that response, it's sending messages to the baby that something's not quite right. So we want to slow that breath down and let our baby be comforted by this experience, even if the positions aren't always that comfortable. Take one more inhale. Gather in through the core and pull that leg back up. Good. From here, check back in on the lower back. Make sure it stays grounded. That back right hip is down, and then we'll release that right foot. Good. Try to lower it nice and slow with control. You can always bend the knee and place the foot on the floor, but we're getting that full extension. Good. Left leg is going to come up and in, straight up towards the ceiling. Loop the strap just under the toes. Roll the shoulders back and down. Draw the chin slightly to the chest. Good. We're starting to just feel that stretch through the back of the hamstring. Checking in on the back of the leg and then checking in on the back of the left hip. So again, we don't want to be drawing in too much through the belly. Give yourself as much space as you need. Good. About 2 or 3 more breaths. And then we're going to bring that strap into the right hand. Left thumb moves to that hip crease, and we pull the left hip down towards the heels. Good. Or towards your left heel, or excuse me, your right heel. Good. As you cross over, you're just getting to the point where you start to feel that sensation through the outer edge of the leg. You don't have to go very far to do that, maybe just a few inches. That sensation might just be in the outer leg and hip, or it may even start to travel up into the sacrum and into the low back. So that's all normal. Good. A little tiny work engaging that pelvic floor, the pelvic floor muscles, drawing up and in as you squeeze the inner thighs together. But again, if this feels like it's too constricting for your belly, give yourself more space. Let the foot fall away. Take about 2 more breaths. Good, and then we'll get that nice open position. We'll pull the leg back up. Strap goes into the left hand. Right hand comes to the top of the hip, or you might slide that right leg out, and then we're going to drop over. Good. Breathing where you are. Again, you want to make sure you're not rolling in the direction of that leg. So we check in on the back of the right shoulder. Notice if you're tensing up through the shoulders and the neck. This should feel like it's creating space in the body, space that your baby needs to grow, that you need to continue to feel comfortable and relax through your pregnancy. And even though pregnancy isn't always comfortable and relaxing, we can still set that intention and find those little spaces where we do find that ease. Take one more big inhale. And exhale, we'll draw that leg back up. Good, great job. Separate the hands again. Find one more connection of that left outer hip or back of the left hip towards the floor. And then we're going to loop the strap off the foot and slowly bring that leg down. Little core control as you extend the leg down. Think of the abdominal muscles as giving your baby a little hug. Good. If that's too much, then bend the knee and place the foot on the floor. And then we'll pull both knees back into the chest. Good. We're going to transition nice and slow, just making sure you don't feel lightheaded or dizzy. So we'll roll to the side. Good. Check in there. Make a little support for your arm, for your head with your arm. And then that hand that's in front of the chest, you're going to push down and try to lift your head up last. Good. Again, check in. Make sure you're still feeling okay. And then we're going to come into a tabletop position. Good. If you would like to have your blanket at the center of the mat for some support under your knees, go ahead and add that in. Hands are down directly under the shoulders. Knees are directly under the hips in that tabletop position. And then start to feel that little bit of work at the center of the body, that gentle hug of the abdominal muscles towards your belly. Not so much that you're sucking your stomach in, but just that you're lengthening the low back and engaging slightly. So almost like a comforting sensation of holding your baby. Good. From that position, we're going to lengthen the top of the head forward, gazing straight down in between the hands. Good. And then we're going to tuck the toes under. Good. From this position, we're going to pop up onto the fingertips. So you might do it one hand at a time and really keep the belly engaged instead of letting the belly flop down towards the floor and letting the curve come into the low back. So we want to keep that lengthened. Good. And then we're going to drop down to the palms. So try that a couple more times. Just getting that little movement, warming up the fingers and the hands. Good. Last one. And then we're going to sit back on those heels, keep the toes tucked under. You might stay here, especially if you're not used to this movement. It might be a lot for the toes. If you're okay going a little further, walk the hands back closer to the knees. And then see what it feels like to bring the weight of the torso up over the heels. It's going to get a little bit more intense in those toes, so check in. And then see if you can come back to the breath. So as we already discussed, not all parts of our pregnancy or motherhood are seamless and comfortable, right? But keeping calm, keeping our breath steady as we come across those points of discomfort. Good. Take one more inhale. And then walk those hands out. Good, nice job. Wiggle out those toes again. All right, we'll start to move into some cat-cow. So we'll inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, round. Try that about 3 more times. So as you inhale, we're getting a stretch through the front of the belly. Don't go as deep if this feels a little uncomfortable for you. And then we're drawing in and up. Again, you're not sucking the belly in. You're just getting a little hug of the abdominal muscles in towards your baby. Good. Try that a couple more times. Good. As you come all the way back up, neutral spine, we're going to take the right foot out to the side, swing it all the way around, and toe heel it to the top of the mat. Good. This is a great place, especially if you are larger further along in your pregnancy with your baby's larger here. You could use blocks. That's a great option. So I'll show you what that looks like. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. Keep your hands on the inside of the foot and that foot out to the side. So you're making space for your belly on the inside of the thigh. Okay. We're going to inhale, push those hips forward just enough to start to feel a little stretch through the right hip and the front of the left thigh, but not so much that you're coming into the deepest stretch you've ever done. Good. As you feel comfortable here, we'll start to lift the chest, look forward, and then walk the hands up to the knee. And see how that feels as you lift up. Checking in on balance, so that right foot's going to be a little wider than normal. So it should give you a little bit more stability. Tuck the tailbone under. See if you can find that same length that we did in the beginning of class lying on our back, and see if that opens up the front of the left side. Good. All right, keep your right hand at the low back, so it's right here on my sacrum. And then the left hand is going to reach up, and we're going to bend the elbow. And my hand is coming to the back of the shoulder blade. So this is a Gomukhasana variety of the hands, just spreading the fingertips out, hopefully feeling a stretch in the left tricep. That's right here. And the right shoulder. Okay. Take another inhale, and as you press your left hand into the shoulder blades, the back of the shoulder blades, see if you can lift the chest slightly. Just enough to create that opening. Think of opening the sides of the torso, the lungs here, all while maintaining that gentle work of hugging your abdominal muscles in just enough to feel the length in the lower back and spine. Take one more full inhale. And then exhale, we'll release that top hand down. Good, check in. Both hands come down to the blocks or the floor, and then we're going to swing that right leg back. Good. We'll try some hip circles here, so just move the hips in both directions. Get out any snap, crackle, pops of the knees or wrists. Good. And then we'll switch to the other side. So back to tabletop position, left leg goes out to the side and then starts to toe heel in. Good, so both hands are on the inside of the foot. It looks like this if you're on the floor. You're letting the knee go wide and your belly's coming on the inside of the thigh. Good, we're gonna start to lift the chest, shift forward just enough. Check in on that left knee, make sure it doesn't go past the ankle, and then look out in front. Good. We bring our hands up to our knee. Check in on stability. Roll the shoulders back and down. Good. As we shift forward slightly, start to bring your awareness to the sacrum, tucking the tailbone under. Good. Feel that opening through the front of the right hip. Our left hand will be on the sacrum this time, and then our right hand starts to lift up. Bend at the elbow. Both fingers are spread wide. Think of that work we did in the beginning where we lifted up onto the fingertips, warmed up the hands. Good. Inhale as you create space and lengthen the spine. Exhale as you deepen. Press the right hand into the back of the shoulder blades. Lift the chest up. Good. Really subtle adjustments to give yourself more space in the body, but they can feel really, really nice. Another full inhale. Keep the tailbone tucked under. Abdominal muscles slightly engaged. And then release that top arm down to the hip. Left hand releases, check in. Both hands down, left leg swings back. Good, a few little hip circles, side to side, just finding a place that feels good to open. Maybe just let those hips sway side to side. And then we'll make our way into a downward facing dog. So if you don't do downward dog often, I would suggest trying puppy pose first. So it looks like this. Your hips are way up in the air, knees down, and then you bring your hands. Knees are going to go a little wider than normal. And then you bring your hands down and the chest down. Elbows can be on the floor, so that may look like this, or you might bring the whole chest down. Great way to open up those shoulders and the arms. If you are comfortable with downward facing dog during your pregnancy, it's a great pose to do, help strengthen the entire body. Tuck those toes under and gently lift up. Keep the knees bent, give the head and neck a shake, and let your belly move towards the thighs. It might already be resting in that direction. Start to open up and create space as you're ready. So that might mean legs get straighter and heels move towards the floor. You can keep it fluid, bending the knees nice and slow and switching sides. Good, great job. One more full inhale wherever you are. And then we'll lower back down to the knees. Good. So practicing downward facing dog during your pregnancy, or really puppy pose as well, because it's bringing the hips higher than the heart, gives us some of the benefits of an inversion without actually having to go up. I personally am not inverting during my pregnancy because it doesn't make me feel good. So downward dog is a great way to get some of that. It also, later in your pregnancy, can bring the weight of your belly, especially if it's really bothering you, away from the hips a little bit. So it creates that little counter movement, just to give you some freedom for 15 seconds, 20 seconds or so. So let's try it one more time. Set it up, walk those hands out, puppy pose or downward dog, tuck the toes under. Inhale completely. Exhale, lift the knees off the floor, press it all the way back. Good. As our bodies are growing, make sure you have that nice firm foundation, pressing the whole palm into the floor, especially the inner pointer finger mound of the hand. All 10 fingers grip, but also the knuckles stay down and grounded. So make sure there's not that lift under the palm. Good. Feel free to keep that fluid movement, or it might feel good to just hold and breathe. Noticing how the breath changes when our hips are higher than the heart and the heart higher than the head. About 3 more breaths. At the end of that last exhale, we'll bend the knees deeply, slowly start to walk your feet towards your hands. You're going to take a nice wide stance, so giving yourself as much space as you need to, bending those knees. Good. Keep that nice wide stance. So my feet are almost the width of the mat, and I have a slight bend in my knees. You can reach back, move your blanket out of the way. We'll inhale, pull the heart forward to create a little space, stretch the back of the legs, push the heels down, and then exhale, we'll fold. Good, you can keep those knees bent. And we're just going to add a little sway. Hold at opposite elbow and sway the torso side to side. Let the head hang. Good, we're just letting go. Letting thoughts, worries, plans all fall out onto the floor, knowing we can always come back to those things later. They'll always be there to remind us, but we just choose to be in the present moment right at this time. When you're ready, we'll come back to center. Hands come down. Let's bend those knees. Tuck the tailbone under. Give your knees that nice wide stance like your feet as you roll up. So giving yourself that space for your belly, for your hips as you rise. Good. Check in when you get there. Root down into the feet. Pull the head back. Take a few moments to check in when you come up to that standing position. And then we're going to draw the chin to the chest and just do a few neck rolls. So let the head move in a full circle about 2 or 3 times in one direction. And then switch it up, other side. We'll come back to center. Good. Roll those shoulders back and down. And then we're going to step back with the right leg into our warrior 2 position. So bring the hands to the hips. We'll step all the way back. Good. Nice wide stance, and make sure your left heel is intersecting the arch of the back foot. Make that correction. And then start to bend that right knee. So if you practice often during your pregnancy, perfectly fine to come nice and deep like you normally would. If you've taken some time off from practicing and you're just getting back into it, then don't go as deep. Give yourself that space just to do a little less. Good. From here, roll the shoulders back and down. Reach up through the top of the head and then add those arms. Good. Looking back and forward. Make sure those fingertips are level with the shoulders. And then start to breathe space all the way from the sides of the rib cage down through the sides of the waist. So think about giving your whole torso as much space as it needs. Again, as we spend a little bit more time in this pose, it may start to change the breath. So if you need to adjust, come out of the pose, take a break. If you start to breathe quickly or feel like you're holding the breath. Good. We're going to bring the elbow down to the knee, reach that top arm all the way up. Good. Feel that stretch down through the side body. And then we're going to reach it back, reverse warrior. Push into the feet, use that strength in the legs as you come into your reverse warrior. Exhale, elbow comes down to the knee. So we start that fluid movement after that stabilizing movement. And then we inhale, reach up, reverse warrior. Just one more like that. Side angle pose. And reverse warrior. Good. We'll come back to center. Hands to the hips. Turn all 10 toes to face towards the long edge of your mat. And we're going to come into a wide forward fold. Root down in the hips. So my fingers are at that hip crease. And then I'm hinging forward. Feel free to bring your hands to a chair, maybe a coffee table, or your blocks. We're going to look at the feet, let the heels pop slightly wider, and then slide the fingertips forward any amount, or slide your props forward so you can let the chest relax down, head relaxed. Good. We're in our wide forward fold, downward dog position in the top half of the body. We want to keep our hips and our heels in a line. So make sure you're not leaning forward, putting too much weight in the hands. It shouldn't feel like you're going to slide forward. Good. Slow down the breath. One more inhale. Good. We're going to walk back. Bring those hands under the shoulders. Good. Before lifting up, we're going to turn the heels in and bend the knees into goddess pose. So let those hips drop down, and then one hand at a time comes up to the knees. Good. As you sit in that goddess pose, we're finding a little balance between the extreme opening of the knees and the drawing in and up of the thighs and those pelvic floor muscles. So kind of finding those two, the balance between those two. As we pull up and in, we're lengthening the tailbone and we're drawing the low belly in just enough to, again, feel that little hug of our abdominal wall. Good. You could have your hands and hold your belly here. Seems like a nice goddess thing to do. You could close the eyes. Good. So even though our legs might be a little shaky and this feels like a challenging pose, we're letting our baby know that it's making us stronger and we're staying steady with the breath. When you're ready, push into those feet, straighten out the legs, release the hands. Good. Hands to the hips. We're going to turn all the way to the other side, coming into our warrior two on the opposite leg. So we set up that stance. Right heel this time is intersecting the left arch. So just make sure you're doing the opposite leg that's bent. Good. Reach out. Check in on the back hand and the front hand. Deciding which variation is best for your body at this moment. And then just be in tune with the breath. As you're ready, we'll bring the elbow down. Reach that top arm up and over. Good. Exhale all the way. Inhale, we'll bring it back up and into our reverse warrior, getting into the sides of the torso. Two more like that. Exhale. Good. From that reverse warrior position, inhale all the way. Exhale, hands to the hips. Pivot on the feet, wide forward fold. So great opportunity to get some shoulder opening here. Your hands can stay on the sacrum, fists or palms, or you could interweave the fingers at the low back. So you could have the hands here or here, just elbows bent. Do what makes sense for you. And you're going to let the head hang. Good. We're breathing, relaxing. We no longer have the support of the hands, so a little bit more is required of the legs. Take one more inhale. Draw in through the inner thighs, pelvic floor draws up, and we lift back up. Nice job. All right, hands to the hips, heels in for goddess pose once more. Knees widen, and we sit down. Good, great job. Give yourself lots of space through the sides of the hips. So if you're leaning forward too much, you're going to start to constrict the belly as well as the sides of the torso. So sit back, tuck the tailbone under. Good. This time we're going to work to reach the arms straight up. Good, like you're holding something above you. Notice how that feels for the rest of the body. Take one more big inhale, and exhale. We'll stand all the way up. Those hands come down. Nice job. All right, toe heel the feet a little closer together. Good, all the way up to Tadasana. Check in, root down through the feet, maybe slightly wider in the feet. And then we're going to come down towards the floor. Good, meeting in a tabletop position. Blanket can be close by. We're going to start off with a pigeon pose. So we're starting with our left leg. Tabletop position, left knee is going to slide through. Good. That pillow or blanket could be handy under your left hip. So you just kind of shove it under there to get a little bit more support. Your foot can come up a little bit more or it can stay tucked under. Choose where you need to be. Tuck the back toes under and start to lengthen the front of the leg and then reset the knee and then untuck. Good. Square off the hips and make sure you're lengthening, finding space. You can stay upright, or if you want to come down, go ahead and lower. Good. If the floor feels a little far away, using something to come down to is a great option. Good. Start to deepen the breath, maybe even bringing the head down. Anytime the head is resting, we can let the body know we're starting to relax and let go. Tight hips are one of the main things that cause low back pain. So we want to give ourselves as much space as possible in those hips. Also being aware that our body is often extra flexible during our pregnancy as it's starting to produce what we need to have a baby. So if you ever feel like you're stretching too much, that's a good thing to be aware of, and you want to back off and do a little less. Good. Take 2 or 3 breaths. When you're ready, we'll walk those hands in, lift up. Good. Move your blanket out of the way. Just come all the way onto your bottom. Good. We're going to swing around into a wide forward bend. So extend both legs out. Good. And your wide forward fold might look very different. So you might have your legs a little bit more narrow. You might have them even wider than mine. Once you get into that position, just kind of move side to side. Check in on everything in the low back. So this is going to be an intense pose, but really, really great for opening where we need to, giving yourself lots of space in the hips and the low back. Feel free to stay right here. You can hold on, you can bring your fingertips down, or you might even bring the forearms out in front of you. Good, we'll drag the heart forward, get a little bit more space, and then flex the feet so the toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. Good, we slow down the breath again. One more full inhale. And then slowly walk those fingertips in. Good. We're going to finish up on pigeon pose on the other side. So the right leg's going to bend in. Good. We bring our hands down and we lift up, turn the left knee, tuck the left toes under. Feel free to grab that blanket and bring it under the right hip. Good. Inhale here. We reach down through the fingertips and then we lengthen that back leg. Reset the knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, walk forward. Again, if you are further along in your pregnancy, you might need to stay up just because of your baby. And that's perfectly fine. You can still get everything you need out of pigeon by staying upright. If you're comfortable coming down a little lower, you can also do that. About 2 or 3 more breaths. When you're ready, slowly walk those hands back in. You can move your blanket from out away from the hip, and then sit down on that right hip, swing the left leg around. Good. All right, so as we come onto our back again, please just be mindful of if you got uncomfortable in the beginning of class lying on your back, and you can always come into a side lying position. Really great to do with a bolster or a pillow. So you'd kind of prop your bolster or pillow up this way and just lie on your side. You can also just lie on your side this way if you want to do that. Good. We're just going to do a few rolls of the knees to release the low back once more. So hands are either on the kneecaps or right behind the knees, and we're just circling around. Good. Spreading out, releasing tension. Good. Think of the back of the body like it's spreading out wider and wider. Letting go of what you no longer need to hold on to in the body. Okay. If you're feeling good here and your belly and body allows, you might reach up and grab the feet for happy baby. Maybe even closing the eyes, envisioning your baby in the same position as it grows and gets older and starts to discover its feet. And then we'll slowly begin to release. Good. Feet can come down towards the floor, so you can be in that same position that we started with the knees falling together, making sure that's comfortable for your body. Or you can extend those legs straight out. And again, just make sure that you are comfortable so you can fully release. This is where our body absorbs all the benefits of what we've done. So we want to be able to truly release and let go. Good. If you have an eye bag or you want a blanket, just let yourself be comfortable. Feel free to switch to that side lying position at any point. Take a few moments to just release and relax. This may be your only time of the day to truly be still and be quiet. So enjoy it as much as possible. And you'll know it's time to come out when I ring the bell. Take a few moments to let the breath come back to the surface of the body. Slowly wiggling the fingers and toes. Every little area of the body that has worked to open and relax, that works to create a beautiful space to grow your baby. When you're ready, bend the knees one at a time. Good. Slowly roll over onto one side. And then coming up to sit nice and slow as you're ready. We'll gather our hands at the heart center. Once again, thanking your mind and body for the work that it's done and for all it is doing. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be doing a few more prenatal classes, so please like, share, and subscribe if you want more. Thank you.